Hey guys, Matt Tait again from Fork in the Road, your channel for transformation. And as always, I like to give some tips to help people to transform themselves, and what better book to continue my little book review on, which is Transforming Yourself by Andreas, one of the original founders of the NLP movement, person who really developed a lot of the tools, and an amazing guy who has really developed so many tools that we all take for granted today in the coaching space, which is all about maintaining your coaching, maintaining your mindset, maintaining that emotional state so that you're in a confident and positive, direction. Building a new quality of yourself. Building a new quality. Now, this is a very, very interesting chapter. As I went through it again today, looking for things that I could do videos on. And what this led to was looking at internal versus external. Now, I've got my notes here, and I wrote down some notes, and I was saying to myself, all right, well, how's this going to help? It was a conversation with my partner where we were talking about a bunch of people in our lives and how people are affected, and how internally certain some people are, and how externally people look for evidence that is outside of themselves. And what this said to me, when I think about those people who have got that need for external validation versus internal certain knowing, it's a very interesting piece. And it's a very interesting piece to your self-concept. Inside the self-concept, what we got here is internal versus external, and the conversation with my partner, I wrote some notes down, was about how do you organize yourself internally where you're totally certain. And in those moments where you're not certain about a certain quality or a certain situation, you go looking outside of yourself. And when you start looking outside of yourself, you start allowing other people's certainty to grab yours, which is not good in some contexts. Now, there's all sorts of different situations where it's appropriate, if you're learning something, to be looking outside of yourself. So it's not about just creating this false world, because at the end of the day, all of the things that make us certain internally came from the outside originally in a bunch of different experiences, right? So you've got a whole thing called your database, a whole bunch of different experiences that have nested inside of you, and you've made a decision: I am this. You could say, I am kind, I am courageous, I am inquisitive, I am lovable, I am someone who loves a lot, I am, eccentric, I am. Just whatever words come to mind, there's a quality in your identity that you believe it is you. It all came from the outside world, whatever that is for you. And so I find this to be fascinating, because when someone is certain, and we've had experiences, my partner's had some experiences where people were certain, or should I say were not certain in themselves, and they went reaching out to someone else, that person imparted some certainty, and then it got transferred across. The problem, that one person, let's say a friend, was trying to make my partner see her way of the view of the world, which wasn't even hers. It was this third party. And so what happened was, my partner's very internally certain, and she is absolutely not going to budge on the particular thing that they were not arguing about, but kind of disagreeing on. It's like, so her internal certainty was solid, and so the friend met resistance. And yet the other friend was not certain. Friend number one was not certain, but friend number two, the third party, was certain, and transferred the same opinion and tried to kick the ball down the road to my partner. Now, it's very interesting to observe that dynamic where my partner was certain, which meant she wasn't letting this opinion in, or this situation, or this way of being, where someone was actually trying to control her. And she says, "No sirree, Bob, not letting you in." That ain't happening. And it was certainty. It was an internal certainty. A certainty that was the high value on options for my partner, because there was restrictions. Go this way, don't go that way. And my partner said, no, I'm having all the options in front of me. And it was fascinating to observe her internal certainty meeting the other person's external uncertainty, which came from person number 3, which was their certainty transferred through an uncertain person. I hope that makes sense. It made sense to me at the time. At the end of the day, when someone's certain, you'll meet a boundary condition. And we'll get into boundaries in the book later on. And so I wrote down some other notes here, and that was a strong internal identity, which is the qualities inside of yourself, the high standards inside of yourself, and the boundaries that you set because you have a high value on, let's say in this case, options. Do not limit my options to suit your agenda. That was what it came down to. Don't limit my options. And so I thought, wow, what an incredible piece. What an incredible piece that's in the book. I was just reading that chapter, chatting with my partner, and then this whole piece came out. And so my question to you is, what are your internal qualities where you are certain about yourself? And I'll do a little activity in another video. Versus what are the things that you're uncertain about that you search for those qualities? Maybe it's you're searching for others' opinions outside of yourself about you being, let's say, kind, or you being generous, or you being good looking, I don't know, attractive, or you being someone who is, I don't know, philanthropic, I don't know, just pick a quality, whatever it might be. But if there's something you're uncertain about, that means you've not collected enough stories and put them inside of yourself. This is where the self-concept is valuable. You gather the stories together, go and find those stories, and realize you had classified them wrong. You classified them over there somewhere and missed out on the opportunity to make that part of who you are, your database. So I find this stuff fascinating because you can start to shift who you think you are, and as a result, all your actions will start to align with that. But first, you've got to check, is there an unconscious resistance? Is there any reason you shouldn't change that thing? And that's all going to be checked through when you go through the book. You'll see that Steve Andreas has all those checklists in there. So, here's the questions, and that is, are you dependent on others, or are you internally certain? Are you looking for others to validate, or are you internally validating? You already know this. I am, for example, I am an inquisitive person when it comes to NLP, life coaching, my clients, shifting people, transforming myself, reading these books like Steve Andreas, right? I am an inquisitive person. So how do I know that? Well, I have a database in my head of hundreds, if not thousands, of examples of YouTube videos, books, seminars, self-development. I mean, there's no question. I am an inquisitive person. And so that is how I know I'm internally certain. I don't need to ask anyone if I'm an inquisitive person. If it happens, it's in passing. I know it in here. And if I allow myself permission to do it, I will be inquisitive. I will go and research it until I know I've got it, until I know I'm certain inside myself about a skill. It might be the swish pattern, it might be timeline, it might be some healing method or hypnosis, or it might be anchoring, it might be strategies. Whatever it is, I use it with my coaching clients to help them shift internally. I just know I'm going to chase these things down the rabbit hole until I have it internally changed and I've got it. I've got it for myself. I've had transformation myself. My clients have had transformation. Now I know I got it. So that's my little tip today. Are you internally validating, or are you externally validating? Are you seeking from the outside world some confirmation, or do you already know it internally? And as a result, you follow through with all of your actions. This is Matt Tait from Fork in the Road YouTube channel. As always, click on the little bell below. Click on the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Little symbol there with the Fork in the Road logo. And click on that and you get all my videos for free whenever they pop up. Whenever I'm producing, when I'm creating new content like this on how you can transform yourself. click on the links below, have a look in the description. I'll put some more words in there to explain this concept. Coming up will be an activity to help you discover these little elements inside yourself.